Hey guys, welcome to the Game Precast. This is episode 12. My name is Frank. I'm joined by Mike. This is our podcast where we talk about all things gaming. Today we got a few interesting news pieces on the topic, and we also have some live news coming in for the Microsoft earnings, so we'll cover that at the end. But we like to start the show off usually talking about what we've been playing recently. So Mike, what's been going on with you?
I've been playing a good variety of things recently. Started out this week playing a little bit of Inversion, which is like a Gears of War's clone on the 360 and PS3. But the gimmick is you can kind of change gravity. You can invert it so you can go upside down. You can go on the walls, left or right. It's pretty cool, but that stuff is mainly saved for like scripted sequences. But you can like pick up objects and enemies, throw them into the air, shoot them up, that sort of stuff. I mean, in terms of like, comparing it to modern titles, it doesn't really do anything new or innovative. But back in the day, I mean, it looked really cool, but I never got to play it. So I picked it up at this retro game shop and it's all right. But I was kind of cut off from playing that because Hitman 3 dropped. And I already have like 21 hours in that game. I've just been playing the ever living hell out of it. And I finally got my Hitman 1 missions to work today in that game, so I'll be going back on there tonight to be playing through Showstopper, which is by far one of my favorite contracts ever in Hitman. It's the one in Paris. But yeah, no, I've been playing, all the Hitman 3 contracts. I beat the game and then I replayed pretty much all of them a few times. It's just so good. And I played a few Hitman 2 contracts inside that game as well. But besides entering the world of assassination, I played a little bit of COD 3 because that's the only mainline entry I haven't beaten. And well, apart from the first one, I'm like halfway done with that. But I played this game as a kid and I detested it because I came from Call of Duty 2 and this game was worse in every single way to me, at least at the time. But play through it now, it's not as bad as I remember. The only negative thing that I can really identify, like the blaring red flag, is that the aim assist is just so abhorrent. I mean, they have you lock on to everyone and anything. So just for example, say you're in a wide field with a bunch of Krauts, Nazis, whatever you want to call them, charging at you, and you aren't even ADSing. You're just having your gun at your hip. Um, your gun will just track any Nazi that runs in front of your crosshair. Or if you're aiming on one German and another German, passes by them or walks near them, the aim assist will switch to that guy. And I like a little bit of aim assist in FPSs sometimes, particularly in COD campaigns, but just when it's this extreme, when it's this exorbitant, it just completely ruins the immersion and it takes skill out of it. Now, I am playing on regular because I'm pretty sure you don't unlock veteran in that game until after you beat it once. So I might go back and do a veteran playthrough if the aim assist is like gone or nearly gone on that, but there's no slider to edit it, in the regular difficulty mode. So the game's just stuck like that and it is terrible. I guess if I played it on keyboard and mouse I'd have better experience, but that's not where I'm playing it, so I guess I'm a little bit SOL, but I am gonna continue to play it, and hopefully it will become less egregious in time. Other than that, just playing like the standard multiplayer games with friends like GTA, Battlefield 4. Got back into Rainbow Six Siege a little bit. That game gives me so many conniptions, I swear to God. It's so infuriating. It can be really fun when you're doing well, but I swear that community is so unbelievably toxic and just I'm not saying everyone is, but if you play the game, you gotta admit a very large portion of it is just absolutely cancerous and terrible. But at least the gameplay's fun. Obviously, it's not as good as any other Rainbow Six game ever made. It's probably the worst out of all of them because it's just nothing like any other Rainbow Six game like Vegas or Vegas 2 or Critical Hour, Raven Shield, whatever. But it's a decent multiplayer competitive FPS. And then other than that, just playing a little bit of a Black Ops 3 campaign on veteran with my roommate, completing every mission without dying. We're almost done with that because that's a challenge in game.
Didn't you
And
already
then
do that?
no, we beat realistic.
Ah,
And now we're doing it on
got
veteran,
it.
and then if we die, we have to restart the mission from the beginning. But it's honestly way easier than realistic was, light years easier. And we were allowed to die for that. I mean, you kind of had to because realistic's just absurd. But
Yeah.
yeah, and then just a little bit of zombies before I hopped on here with my buddy who came over, and that's about it for this week. Just oh wait, no, played Maiden, but I
Ooh.
guess we'll talk about
Yeah,
that
we'll
when
talk
you're
about that
done with
after.
everything. Yeah, that you played. But
Okay.
yeah, by far, Hitman 3 and Maiden were the highlights of my week. How
Okay.
about yourself?
Well, Hitman 3, quite a bit of that. Um, beat the game. It, dude, it's good.
It's so good.
I mean, it's like combining Hitman 1 and Hitman 2, taking the best parts of each of those games, combining them into one package. Um, yeah, I mean, the gameplay, it's just, I love the Dartmoor map. That was absolutely my favorite map out of any of the Hitman games.
Out of
Um,
every Hitman game,
yes,
you
every,
know, I can see where you're coming from. I actually just killed Alexa Carlisle in every possible way last night. I was up till 2 a.m. I love Dartmoor. I don't know if it's my favorite, but I'm sorry,
it
continue.
might just be a honeymoon phase for me as well. Like, if I, like, go back to it like a year from now, I might not enjoy it as much, like, as some of the Hitman 1 maps. I forget the one I'm thinking of, the Sapienza, I think it is. Like, the one that has, like, 19 different ways to do the mission.
In Italy? Yeah.
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 And that's the one thing I did notice by Hitman 3 is there's a lot less mission stories. I mean, there was only 3 mission stories, I think, on every map, which was a lot less compared to Hitman 1 and Hitman 2. I know
Well,
there is a lot of different hidden mission stories,
yes,
though.
I was just about to say there are a lot of
Yeah.
hidden ones.
And
Like a
it's
lot, a
like,
lot.
what was the point in doing that?
I guess just to reward exploration,
Alright.
it's more
'Cause I know,
satisfying if you
like
find
on
it
the
yourself.
Dubai one, there's like the exploding golf ball, and I know that one was like a hidden
Yeah.
mission story. That's like
In
the only one.
Dartmoor, you can actually help Emma kill Alexa. You can craft her poison
Really?
and, like, help her. Yeah. Like,
Dude.
there's a lot of hidden stuff you can do in
See,
Hitman
I
3
mean, the
with the
hidden stuff's
secret
cool,
ending.
but I would rather know about it without having to go on Google and like look for where are all the hidden scenarios. And I know I could just spend time exploring the map and trying to figure them out, all the hidden stuff myself, but that's a lot of time.
Fair enough.
Um, so yeah, on the surface, it does look like there's less content, but they're not really. It's just that it's hidden. But well, I mean, did Hitman 1 have hidden mission stories as well? I don't remember. That was such a long time
Not that
ago.
I can recall. I'll be able to tell you after tonight, but,
Okay.
I think all of them are pretty out in the open. I mean, there's obviously, you can kill targets in any way you want that
Yeah.
isn't listed, but I know what you mean, like, in specific, like, hidden
Yeah.
mission stories, I don't think there are any.
Okay. Yeah, so I really liked Hitman 3. Definitely my favorite game of the new trilogy.
Mm.
And I'm super excited for James Bond. I mean, I'm
Oh
very
my
happy
god,
with
yeah.
what IO has been doing, and IO is going to be another report that came out earlier saying that they want to like double their studio size for the James Bond game. So they're going to be going up to like 400 people working on that game. So, I mean, I'm
Wow.
excited and I have high hopes. I
I
think a
do
lot of people
too.
have high hopes for it.
I mean, Hitman 3, I know a lot of people are saying it's just kind of like an expansion to 2, but I really don't mind that because Hitman 2 was my favorite of the franchise, and now that 3, you can play 1 and 2 in 3 with all 3's tools and 2's tools and 1's tools and just have that whole complete experience with all the DLC, suits, weapons, maps, challenges, escalation contracts, whatever. By far, it is the best definitive Hitman experience with that complete package, and I think it's the best Hitman game ever made, at least definitely from a gameplay standpoint. I don't think it really has anything on Blood Money's story, but that's just because, with Square Enix's meddling, I think they just had a disjointed story and they couldn't really do anything about it when they had the rug pulled out from under them with the funding in 2. And now they kind of have like the full cutscenes back, but they're not as high quality as the first one because they don't have the money. It just feels a little disjointed, but the
Yeah.
gameplay has never been better. And honestly, for what it was worth, I did like the story of the new trilogy. I thought Lucas Gray was a really compelling, character to kind of flesh out 47, make him seem more human. Diana was way more fleshed out than she ever was. And honestly, I just really think we saw a more human side to 47 in this
Yeah.
trilogy. And I thought it was pretty compelling for what it was. Not the best thing ever written by far, but it was good.
Yeah. It was enjoyable.
Yeah,
Uh, and
that's what
then
matters.
what are you saying?
I
You
said
want to?
that's what matters at the end of
Yeah.
the day,
I
that
mean,
it's fun and
having a
enjoyable.
good story and it all makes sense in the end. There was no like holes in the story. At least I don't think there was.
No,
I
not
mean,
I mean, like,
it ended on a solid note where I was happy with the story. Um, yeah,
did you
and
get the secret ending by chance? Did you
I
replay the
watched it on
day-game
YouTube.
mappings? Yeah, it's pretty easy to get. I would just
Yeah,
go do it. You get an achievement out of it too. It is a bit of a mind trip though, and definitely a callback to the
one of
first game,
the I think
Codename
Absolution.
47. Well, I mean, like, I don't want to spoil it here, but
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
know.
it's
I saw. I
definitely
know
a
it
call.
starts the intro to another game. I forget which game it is, but because I didn't play
I,
the earlier ones.
I think it's just like I don't know if it starts the intro to an earlier game, but it's definitely
Well,
a
yeah, it's just
callback
like
to
more
the
of like an
first
Easter
one.
egg reference kind of thing.
Yeah, it's definitely a callback to the first game,
Yeah,
100%.
which is cool. Okay. And the other game I played, not counting Maiden, because we're gonna talk about that in a little bit, was Demon Souls. I did a ton of grinding on that this week. The last time we talked about it, I was only 2 bosses in. I think I just took out the first one and then the armor spider. Or maybe I was 3 bosses in probably. Because I think I did Tower Knight as well.
Yeah,
But
you did Tower Knight before Armored Spider. I
yeah.
remember you telling me about
So
it.
now we got Flameworker done, Dragon God done, Fool's Idol is done, Maneater's done, Old Hero is done, the Old Monk is done. Let's see what else.
Storm King, I think you said
Yeah,
you beat.
Storm King is done, and Vanguard is done. And that's
Well,
it.
Vanguard isn't really a boss. It's more like a mini boss.
All right.
You can one-shot him really if you want to. That's what I did.
Yeah.
Just want his soul.
I mean, I am surprised that I made it this far. I
I'm
mean,
proud,
dude,
man.
last night and the night before that, I was at the point of almost quitting with
Really?
Oh, dude, I was getting so fucking frustrated at the which one was it?
Old Monk, I think, right?
Yeah, 3-3.
Yeah.
So I couldn't get up that fucking staircase, and then I get up there and I die. I had to do it offline. It took me about like 5 hours probably on this one area alone.
It's terrible. Yeah,
And
no,
I
for
did
new
finally
players
get up there. I finally beat it. I was so fucking hyped when I beat it. And then 4-2. Oh my god, dude, the amount of rage I had in that level as well.
Really? I mean, like, I guess if you try and take it slow, yeah, but it's pretty easy to run past everything in 4-2, to be honest.
Not for me, bro. All right.
You
So
gotta know
all
where to
right.
go, that's
Well,
why.
dude, the first demon was fine because you could just drop down and you don't even have to fight him, right? So that guy was fine. I did like the freeing the Urbane guy. I killed the demon once, and then
Standard game.
yeah, every attempt after that, I would just drop down and not even fight the first one. Going outside, you fight the skeletons. That's not bad at all. Get past the skeletons though, it's the fucking dudes with the lasers. They're like just out of nowhere. They're like, all right, we're just gonna fucking, and my shield blocks some of the damage, but not a lot. And they just fucking rail my day. And they just like one shot me with that laser if I get hit by it.
You just
And
gotta
then
roll through it.
yeah, and then there's the
Run
fucking
past
Reaper who's sitting in the corner.
it. Hmm.
And then there's the Reaper, which then I would sort of just snipe that guy off. I had a bow and I would just snipe him and he would fall off. So that Reaper in the corner wasn't that bad. But then there's the fucking second Reaper in the corner who comes up a little bit later in that narrow ass hallway. And you got a dude behind you. You got the dude in front of you with the laser shooting at you. You got the Reaper. I finally made it so I could just bum rush him and kill him. And then when I did that, dude, I just ran through that like final segment, the area with yeah. I wasn't even gonna look for loot or anything. I was just trying to get to that boss fight.
Yeah, there's a ring in there. I forget which one, but
I could care less, dude. I just needed to get to that boss fight. I spent so many hours in that. But finally, both of them are done. I mean, and then I went to 4-3, and 4-3 was not that bad, especially because I'm a magic build. I did run out of magic, so I had to use the bow on the big dude. But my magic was pretty much one-shotting all the tinier guys.
wait, did you not pick up Storm Ruler?
The sword? I
Yeah.
picked it up after the boss fight.
Oh my
I didn't see it the whole
God.
time, dude. I was chilling by this building, taking cover, like when they would do that one weird attack where he shoots like fucking 50 arrows at you at once, or the little spikes.
Yeah, I mean they come at you one at a time though.
Dude, I just like would dive behind the building to take cover, and then I'd run back out. So I didn't even get over to the sword area until that boss fight was over. What does the sword do?
You charge it up and it shoots a gust of wind to take them down. That's how you're supposed to beat the boss.
Really?
Yeah. Oh my God, Fred.
Serious?
Yes.
I have to go watch that on YouTube.
That's
after
what
this.
Storm Ruler is for. It's literally its only purpose in the game because it's not viable for PvP or any other weapon. You can't upgrade it. It's literally only for that boss fight. Wow,
Alright.
that's
I did not
hilarious.
know that. I was using I ran out of magic. I ran out of spice. I had this one bow out that barely did any damage, and I was just,
Well, yeah, you gotta think how are melee builds supposed to take it down?
I had no idea. I thought they just crafted this just like thinking about Frank, knowing he used magic, and they're like, all right, well, here you go, Frank. This is so easy for you.
Back in 2009, they're like, okay, 11 years from now, there's gonna be this
There's gonna
guy.
be this
His
one
name
dude
is
playing
Frank.
his first Soulsborne game ever. But yeah, Yeah, I think I'll beat it very soon. Maybe this weekend. I don't know.
Sounds like it. I mean, I'm gonna tell you this: the final word, the Valley of Defilement. That's gonna give you a challenge. You will be defiled. Fully expect to
Oh,
be.
I
Yeah. It's like you ever hear of Blighttown from the first Dark
yeah,
Souls
I have.
and, and its
I have seen it on
notoriety?
YouTube. Yep.
Yeah, well, in my opinion, Valley of Defilement is way more difficult than Blighttown. I know a lot of people have disputed me
Great.
about that over the internet over the years, but I will maintain that Blighttown will always be easier for me than the Valley of Defilement.
That is just
Always.
fucking fantastic, Mike. I am just so excited to play that tonight. Wow. Well, what should I do first? Should I go to the do the 5 chapter, or should I go back to 1? Because I still have 1, 3, and 1, 4.
Do 1-3 and then do all of 5 and save 1-4 for last.
Okay.
Because 1-4 is like the real final boss. Even though there is a boss after that, he's
Yeah.
so easy because it's a lore boss. So 1-4 is like the true final boss. And I will say this: I'm not going to say who it is. I'm not going to say what they are, but I will warn you about this because I don't want you to like call me at the middle of the night really upset because you lost a level. There is an attack that this boss can do, and he will drain your soul level. And it's only one, but you lose it forever. It's a grab attack. So if you see his arm charging back, like about to grab you, you dodge, or else he will lose a level.
Damn. So you. Oh man.
Yeah, he'll set you back a little bit.
Dude, so there is a chance I can go into this fight and I can lose out every level I've gotten in this game
No, well, I mean, if you
if he
keep good grab,
grabs me 50 times. I'm
yeah,
like level 55 right now.
yeah. I mean, he doesn't do it that often, and like it's pretty telegraphed. But if he catches you with it, that's it.
I will quit the game, bro. I will be done. But yeah, Bloodborne next, I think.
Good man.
I'm waiting for the
Best game
60
ever made.
FPS.
Best game ever made.
Just it
Honestly,
looks so much harder though than Demon Souls. Just looking at a gameplay of it,
it.
everything.
I mean, it is, but it requires an entirely different play style. Like if you play Bloodborne like you play Demon Souls, you're not going to get past the first 10 minutes.
Yeah. I feel
It's
like
just
do more people play Bloodborne than like some of the early Dark Souls games?
I don't know because Bloodborne was like a PS4 exclusive and it hasn't been on anything else, so it's
'Cause I
just
feel
limited
like I
to
hear like
people
a
that
lot of
have
people talk about like how good Bloodborne is, but then they
because
don't
it is
talk
just
about any
that
other
good.
Soulsborne games. And I know the other like the Dark Souls series is great. So do they not talk about it because they just play Bloodborne and that's it?
No, it's just
Or
they're very different and they appeal to different audiences. Like a lot of people just say, "Oh, Bloodborne is just the same as Dark Souls but gothic horror," and it couldn't be further from the truth. It's totally different in terms of gameplay, lore, weaponry, even combat. It's just entirely different. Just because it looks the same and has the same lock-on mechanic and same general control scheme doesn't mean that they're like similar in any other way besides that. But no, I mean like from people who have played them all, I mean Bloodborne just is. I mean, in my opinion, I think it's the best. I mean, I love all the Dark Souls games. I've played them religiously, beaten them all at least 10 times over, and Dark Souls 3 like 25 times over. But Bloodborne, there's just something special about it, and it is much harder than Dark Souls, but for me, it's kind of easier because it just rewards a very aggressive play style to the point of where trading damage is beneficial. And that's how I play Dark Souls, especially DS3. And it just feeds into my playstyle and the way I play games, and just it. I love the theme. I love just the way you can play Fashion Souls with it because armor doesn't really matter as much. So you make your guy look however you want, and the trick weapons and the transformation weapons are just so much fun to play around with. There's just Bloodborne is very unique, and there's not really anything else like it, which is why I think it gets like more light shown on it than the Dark Souls games because there's a whole trilogy of that. There's Demon Souls, which is very similar, but there's only one Bloodborne. Just like how people like talk Sekiro up a lot because it is a masterpiece and it deserves to be praised, but again, there's only the one.
yeah,
So and I wouldn't say like the debate between like which is harder, Bloodborne and Sekiro. I know we're getting a little bit off topic here, but I just want to clear this up. Like one is not harder than the other. It just depends entirely on how you play games. Like if you're more methodical in your approach and if you're more precise, if you parry, you're gonna find Sekiro more easy. But if you like rushing in, if you like trading damage, if you like being the most aggressive as possible and taking as many risks as you can to win, then Bloodborne's going to be easier for you, and then Sekiro is going to be harder. But if you like playing that slower, more tactical, strategic approach, Bloodborne's going to kick your ass for a little bit until you adapt.
yeah.
So it just depends on the player. But yeah, that's definitely why those games get more recognition is because there just aren't as many of them. And believe me, people want a Bloodborne 2, people want a Sekiro 2,
Oh
but
yeah,
I don't know if that day will ever come, unfortunately.
yeah. Gotta wait for Elden Ring first. Which, I
Elden
mean,
Ring isn't
dude,
real.
2 days. The
The game is
Tapia
not real.
Tapia game show. Two
The
days.
the game is just not
I'm
real.
feeling it, Mike. I'm waking up
Until
at
I
2:30.
until I see it, I refuse to believe it because I can't hold out hope like that anymore. It makes me too damn depressed.
That's fair. It's very fair. Okay. Ooh, what is this?
There is this YouTube channel though called like Daily Elden Ring Update, and I'm subscribed to it with like 24,000 other people, and it's just this one guy every day, like a 20-second video. It's like today is your Elden Ring daily news update. There is no new news for Elden Ring today, and just he sounds more and more depressed and defeated every day as it goes on. It's just I feel that. I feel that.
Okay. Um, are you ready to talk about Maiden?
Oh, I've been ready.
Been
This
ready your
is
whole life. Your whole life you've
by
been waiting on this moment.
by far the best demo I have ever played in my life. Well, tied with PT. Because I mean, look, we've discussed on this show how massive of a Resident Evil fan I am, and now you've gotten into it and you love RE, and
Yes.
very happy about that because it is by far the best survival horror genre to ever exist. It defined the genre, and it will always be the best in the genre, in my opinion. And from what we've seen of RE8, especially at that reveal event the last week, just oh my god, it's exactly as I said it was going to be. The perfect combination of 7 and 4,
Yeah.
and I think that's what we're getting here. And I am just like hell. They even have the attaché case back, to expand your inventory. They have the merchant back, the more open level design, both the gameplay and first person perspective of 7. It just looks so good. And then when they said that Maiden was dropping the same night, I didn't want to play it because, well, I did, but you said PlayStation Store crashed,
Yeah,
and then
it crashed immediately.
yeah, and Hitman was out, and I hadn't played Hitman all day, so I was like, all right, I'm gonna play Hitman. But the very next day, I downloaded it, played it. Took me about 20 minutes because I'm not a casual. I know how these games work. I know where the hidden items are. I know where to look to get out of certain places. Might have taken me a little bit less than 20
Oh,
actually,
dude, it
but
took me so long to find that eyeball.
yeah,
For the life of me, I spent so long trying to find that, bro.
This is gonna sound a little messed up, but that is not the first eyeball I've had to find in these
No.
types of games. So, I kind of know all the tricks that they're gonna use, but it doesn't mean it's any less fun.
Yeah.
I had a blast with this demo. I remember I was just going through it. I'm like, oh, there's no combat, so I doubt I'm gonna run into anything. And as I'm running back up the stairs in the main hallway, I see one of the vampire ladies walking up with a sickle, just
Yeah.
like, and I'm like, oh shit! Like I just backed off a little bit, and then she moves off to the right and just starts sitting in that corridor. So then I move up, I put the eye in the door, I get the item that you need, like the key to leave. I walk down the stairs, and she's just, you can just hear, you don't see her, like, I'm watching you.
Yeah.
I'm like, huh? Like, what are you
I
like?
never saw her when I went up the stairs, so that thing just scared the shit out of me
Oh
when she
no,
said, "I'm
I
watching you." I just took off. I knew she was gonna be coming after me.
I almost alerted her, like, when I was going up the stairs, because I didn't even see her until, like, I rounded the corner. I was like, "Oh!" And then I backed off a little bit. But, yeah, no, I run to the door. She just spawns and manifests there
Yeah.
with all these bats or like, swarms of insects, whatever it may be. And, like, she bit into my neck and grabbed me, and then I ran through the door, used the key, ran out, and then I got shanked by a
Big vampire, big titty
big
vampire.
yeah, big mommy milker vampire lady. That everybody on the internet seems wants her to step on them.
Yes.
I mean, I'm part of that camp to be honest. But no, it was such an enjoyable demo. I mean, we got so much information too, like about the lore and what the story's gonna be, because they are definitely vampires. That looks like they own like a winery, like a distillery, but obviously what's aging in the barrels are people. Like you can see the limbs popping out and stuff, like the blood dripping down. And I actually like took pictures on my phone of the lore notes I found in the game so I could like study it after and read it all through.
Yeah.
And they would hire like these maids, these servants to come in and like help with the winery process and just like help out around the house, but they kept them away. And what they would do this for would be to like find the ideal candidates to join their like ranks of sisterhood. So, like, some would become food and cattle, and, like, they referred to them in a note as livestock. That's why, like, you'll see bodies, like, hanging halfway, like, their legs are gone because they were used to, make blood wine or whatever, and there's definitely some rituals in that.
Yeah.
But now what's interesting to me is that the big lady isn't even, the big bad. She's definitely the leader of, like, that sisterhood cult of vampires, but she was talking to someone on the phone named Mother Miranda.
Yeah.
Now, who is Mother Miranda? We do not know, but I'm very interested to find out.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
but we found out a surprising bit of the story from that demo, and I did not expect to. So I'm very interested to find out more about Lady Demetrisu. Is that
yeah,
her name?
something like
Something
that.
like
It's
that.
something with, but yeah, I mean, she's definitely gonna like transform. She's not gonna be looking like that vampire forever. Like if
Oh,
it's
for
like
sure.
any other Resident Evil game, she'll look like that for like the first. 'Cause it seems like you're gonna be with her. I think it was her brother, right, in that one section of the
Heisenberg.
map, probably Heisenberg.
Yeah, in his factory. I think that's
Yeah,
where you're gonna start out. You're gonna, like, run away from him, and then you're
yeah. She
gonna
said something about
go
his
into the
game, so I'm
village.
expecting it to be something like the one part in Resident Evil 7 where you're in like the barn
Yeah,
with
her
all the
Idiot
like.
Brothers games or
Yeah.
something like that, she said, which is interesting to me because I think Heisenberg is the werewolf that we've seen. So, I wonder how they're related. I mean, obviously in Resident Evil, it's always a biological weapon. It's always a, like a plague or a pestilence or whatever. But in the lore notes, it says, like, these people have been like, this castle has been around since the 1500s.
Yeah.
So
I
what
still think
like,
it's
what
Chris. Is
I
the
think it's a new parasite, but I wonder if, like, there's something more supernatural to it. I wonder if it's, like, maybe more demonic in nature than I don't know, but Resident
Nah,
Evil
bro.
has
They're
always
probably just working on this factory. It's been in the. They're gonna
maybe
make some virus, and then it's gonna give it to Chris somehow, and he's
I
gonna
don't
become a
think
fucking
I don't
werewolf.
think Chris is bad. I think they're trying to make people think that, but honestly, I think he's doing everything he's doing for the greater good.
I don't
But
know.
that
I think
I
he's gonna
I
get like possessed or some
refuse
shit.
I refuse to see Chris become a villain. I mean, even with that Harvey Dent quote, I refuse to see it because Chris is my boy. He's my favorite Resident Evil character, and I would be really upset, now that we just have him back in the mainline games to have him become evil or something. Especially since now I'm gonna have two Chris Redfield statues because I got two collector's editions. But I don't know how Chris is gonna turn out because there's also like this tagline for the game. It says his story ends here, and I'm 99% sure they're referencing Ethan Winters because that would just make sense. I don't think you're gonna keep like this kind of blank protagonist for the
Yeah.
rest of the games. But if they are referring to Chris, I'll cry. I'll be so crestfallen. Like I refuse to see the man who has been with it from the beginning fall in this game. Maybe in RE10, whatever one's called Apocalypse or whatever. But unless that's 9, I forget. But
9.
then what's 10? Because there is a 10th one that we got in those leaks, or was there no subtitle for that one?
I don't think there was a 10th one.
I know there was. I
Now
just
there was
don't
the
remember the
Revelations
subtitle.
type game. There was the RE4 remake, and then I think there was just RE8 and then RE9.
I don't know. I'm gonna take a look at that list after the show again, honestly, just to get an RE fix for the day. But yeah, I mean, Maiden blew me away. I am super excited. I mean, I never thought I'd be this impressed with a demo that didn't let me fight back or even block for that matter. But we got so much, information about the story and the lore. The gameplay's fun. The graphics are beautiful, drop dead gorgeous. It controlled a little bit weird, but that's also because you're just a floating camera, like you have no body. Um, and that'll definitely be fixed, especially the walking felt a bit off. But again, this game's coming out in 5 months. So they definitely, or more like 4, a little bit over 4, but they definitely have time to work out the kinks. And this isn't even representative of how the main game's going to play. It's just like a visual teaser, essentially.
Yeah.
Um, and I freaking loved it. I loved every second of it. And yeah, I'm very excited for Village. Very, very excited. If you have anything to add.
Nah, that's pretty much it. I mean, the intro part of it was very creepy. Like when you're in that little basement place in the cellar.
The dungeon, yeah.
Yeah, the dungeon. And at one part, I just jumped. Bro. Something I was walking, something fell behind me off the ceiling that scared the shit out of me. And then there was something like banging on the doors, just probably humans who were,
Yeah,
captured down there.
I should check my sanity because that shit made me smile. I mean, I guess I just love horror so much, but I was just like, "Ooh, that's some good aesthetic horror right there.
Oh,
That's some
and
good
then you start
background
walking in,
noise."
and you start heading into the part where the castle is, and you hear someone in there. Like you hear one of the
Yeah,
vampires. I fucking ran, dude. I
yeah,
thought she was gonna be coming at me, and then she never
no,
did.
man.
So
I played that alone, like, no one was home. It was just me in the
yeah,
dark with 3D audio headphones. It was such an immersive experience, but I
yeah.
was sweating. My palms were sweaty, and
Well, my
these weak
pounds were
arms
sweating
were
too.
heavy. Yeah.
Yeah, I really.
Um Yeah, I
Good.
do wanna say, though, I do wanna say, for the record, that, my predictions for the Resident Evil showcase were 100% accurate. Everything I said that was gonna be there was there. So, if you want reliable gaming news and predictions, stick with us on the game preview. Because remember, I said we're gonna get, Resident Evil 8 gameplay,
Yeah, the
we're
multiplayer
gon
thing.
we're gonna get the multiplayer reveal, we're gonna have pre-orders be announced, and we're gonna see a clip from one of the Netflix projects.
Yeah,
And it literally in that order, it all happened.
give
So,
insider info here at the game preview.
I just know Resident Evil too well, man, because I love it, because they don't mess up anymore. Like, even the people who hate 5 and 6, like, I get it, but I don't. I love those games because I played them with friends, and I never played them solo, so I never had to deal with the terrible AI, and obviously, they're not, like, good in terms of Resident Evil, but they're extremely fun action co-op games, and, just for
Yeah,
me, like, seeing this gameplay of Village, playing the demo, and then 7 being my favorite, and me absolutely adoring the 2 and 3 remakes, and very, I'm highly anticipating the 4 remake. Capcom can do no wrong for me right now, honestly, especially with like Devil May Cry 5, um, and the special edition that just came out for that. I mean, knock on wood, I don't want them to mess up, but
yeah, bro. You just
I
jinxed everything.
I hope not. Like the RE4 remake is
No, we're gonna
very
talk about that in a little bit.
interesting. Are we are going to talk about that? I mean, we could
You
talk
want to
about it
just talk
right
about it now?
now.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a good
that works.
segue. Because news came out this week that RE4 kind of just got turned on its head, the remake essentially, because originally the people who were working on it, M2 or M3, I think M2, right, were working on the RE4 remake
I
originally.
have the article somewhere. Hang on.
All right, well, I'm gonna go with M2 for right now because I'm
Yeah,
95% sure
yeah.
it's that.
M2.
Yeah, so they were working on it, and if you guys don't know, that's the people who were working on the RE3 remake. And again, people had their qualms with that, but I loved it. And based off of their, response that they got for that remake, the reactions of that they wanted more original content, less cut content, they were pretty much making this a shot-for-shot remake
Yeah.
of RE4 from what it seemed like. And personally, I'm kind of for that because I love RE4. I've beaten it like 5 times. Once on professional, very difficult, but like again, I love the fine line of cheese that's in that game. It adds a lot of humor, but there is some dated stuff in there. But
Is that the game where he punches at the fucking boulder?
no, that's 5.
That's five. All right.
No. But I will say RE4 is the only game that had quick time events that I genuinely liked and I thought added to like the tension of the scene. Like there's a knife fight with your former partner Krauser, and it's honestly the best quick time event I've ever played in a game. It's so good and it really like adds to the tension of the scene. That aside though, um after Capcom, kind of looked in on this project, Division 1 is taking it over. So that's like Capcom's main development studio for you guys who don't know. And M2 is kind of being relegated to a support studio, it sounds like. And the reason for that being is that Capcom doesn't want it to be this faithful to the original. Like they still want to have like the same core feel, I guess, the same characters, the same locations, that sort of stuff, same weaponry, same game mechanics in terms of like shooting and like the inventory management, not the tank controls but just like the general gunplay and whatnot. It seems like they want to go for a darker, more serious tone. It seems like they want to completely turn the narrative and just change it as much as they can to make it more grounded, more realistic, more in line with 2 and 3 remakes. And I really don't know how to feel about it, to be honest. I mean, on the one hand, I love the original RE4, and I still think it's very much playable to this day. And I love, the cheesiness, and I love, the corny dialogue, and I love the classic moments that game has. And I would have liked to see that come back with like a, new coat of paint in 2023 and 2024 on Xbox Series X or PS5. Um, but now that it's gonna be completely different, now that's gonna be more serious and grounded, I might lose a little bit of its soul. I mean, for all I know, it could be just as good, if not better, Because I do like more grounded, realistic survival stories than, like campy ones, but I have a place in my heart for both. I love Friday the 13th just as much as I love something like Nightmare on Elm Street. You know what I mean? I like the camp and I also like the serious stuff. So I'm really torn. I really can't have a definitive opinion on this. I mean, I trust Capcom's judgment because they really haven't messed up that much in the last few years. Again, knock on wood. But yeah, it's very interesting to see Capcom kind of just take the reins and say, no, we want to change this as much as possible. It's interesting. I want to know your thoughts about it, especially.
Yeah, sorry if I looked a little bit distracted there. We'll talk about GameStop in a little bit, but I'll add more in it. But
Were you day trading over there, Frank?
no, dude, just more is happening with GameStop. It just went up another $70 for the share price
Oh
in
my
the last
god,
40 minutes.
that's insane.
So I was just doing the math about how much I'd be worth, and we're gonna talk about this in a little bit. I'm gonna dive into the Resident Evil 4 stuff right now, but yeah, I mean, I never played RE4 Remake.
Well, the original, right?
Yeah, that's what I meant. My bad. I never played the Resident Evil 4, any of the versions. Definitely excited for it. I mean, I would have played it right after I finished 3 if I didn't know there was a remake coming out, but this rumor's been all around for a while now. Um,
You should
yeah, I
still
mean,
play it.
I
It
know, I
still
know you
holds
keep
up.
saying that, but it just feels dated, even though it's not even that dated. But
It's
um,
really not.
yeah, I
Besides
mean,
the
I
tank
don't know. It
controls,
looks good.
but even
I would
that's
be
man.
fine with either direction, but I think I do like the idea of them changing some stuff up
Yeah,
and just redefining some stuff, making it better. As long as they don't cut the length like a shit ton, like because I
yeah.
think RE4 was a pretty long game,
It's
right?
yeah, it's like
Compared to
24,
everything else.
25 hours on your first
Yeah,
playthrough.
yeah. So I mean, because that was like my problem with RE3 remake was how short it was, and
Yeah,
then
but
the
it
fact that
did
they
have a
cut.
lot of replayability.
Yeah,
Or
but it's still just the fact that they cut content from that game, like from the main game, and it was that short. It wasn't like it was a long game. And they cut content. It was a short game, so they really should have had all the content in that game. Um, yeah. So I mean, I'm excited for it. The RE2 remake team did an amazing job with RE2. I mean, the RE3 team did good as well, but I would trust either of them. But I mean, I liked RE2 remake more. So I mean, I'm excited to see what they're gonna do with it. And yeah, I don't have much else to add. But
I just want to add one final point in is even if they do change up the remake significantly from the original, we will always have the original to go back to and play.
yeah,
It's not like that game's going to go away when the remake comes out. So even if it is, a huge
flop,
divergence
it's terrible.
from what it was, we'll always have the original to love and adore and go back to. But I do understand the people that just want the original with a new coat of paint and, non-tank controls. I get that 100%. But you win some, you lose some. But I do think overall the community will win with this game. I do. I think it's going to be really good.
All
But
right.
again, we haven't seen any gameplay or anything, so we'll see. Time
Yeah,
will tell.
time will tell. On that note, we are gonna be pushing the GameStop stock discussion up further. So let me just write down the timestamp so I can get
Yeah,
this
this
off
is
because I
all
need a
you.
rant. I
Yeah,
need a
this
fucking rant, Frank. All right, let me just write the timestamp. There we go.
because you were personally affected by this.
Yes. Well, yeah, not personally, but okay. So earlier this summer, GameStop stock worth $4 per share. That is what it really is worth. GameStop in the summer was on the verge. They were closing down stores left and right. They were pretty much done. Like everyone said, oh, it's only a matter of time. We didn't even know if they were going to make it to the next gen launch. They did. They cut a deal with Microsoft, and that seemed to push them in the right direction, and it's helped them out quite a bit.
Like the life raft they
Yeah,
needed to stay afloat.
but there's no reason anyone should be investing in it more than $20 per share. So let me just pull up my Robinhood so we can get the exact day by date price things. Now there is a Reddit called Wall Street Bets. It's a lot of I don't want to say not solid advice, but it's like
Like
pretty like
beginner advice, amateur
yeah,
advice.
it's very much like risky and just a lot of ways you can lose money. A lot of people have lost thousands of dollars following the advice in there. People have also made a lot of money from following their advice. Now, if we go earlier in the week, GameStop was sitting at $40 per share, which is it's higher than what it should have been, $40 per share. But that's because they had a good holiday season with the new consoles, and it was only going to be downhill from there. There's no way it was getting much higher than 40. Well, in a week period, it is now up to $220. The Wall Street Bets community, they have been just pushing the price of the stock up. They have had everyone on their Reddit, which is 2 million people on that Reddit. Now, all 2 million people aren't investing in it, but quite a few of them. And since there's not a lot of stock out there for GameStop, very little people can really push the price up. It doesn't require a lot. So they've pushed the stock up pretty much like, let's see, it is up 1,000% in the last month, which is just fucking nuts. Just based off what they're doing here, $220 per stock for GameStop is ridiculously overpriced. It's gonna fall. It's absolutely gonna fall. It's just how much more is it gonna continue going up? I mean, it was up $70 today, and then at 4 p.m. is when the market closes, and it went up another $70 after hours, which is like other countries trading. So it's just continuing to fucking explode based off a Reddit thing, and it's just insane. I mean, and just to put it into perspective, if I put a $5,000 investment in GameStop in the summer when they're like the $4 range, I would have well over $100,000 right now from a $5,000 investment. So if you're thinking about and there's people on this Reddit who, did $20,000 investments on this, like using margin, which is borrowing money, which is not something you should ever do because that's very fucking risky. But by using margin, they were able to get pretty much a $20,000 loan, invest it in here, and now they've seen a 5,000% increase on $20,000. And I'll do the math on that real quick. Let's see what that.
I don't even want to do the math.
I want to know, just so I can get angry. 5,000%. Let's see, 20,000. God, that's a lot of zeros. Hang on.
I don't know. Is that the right math? Because
yes. $1 million.
Oh.
Yeah, that's also $20,000. But yeah, people are becoming millionaires based off this little GameStop run. And the other note on this is, hedge funds are filing for bankruptcy now because they were betting on GameStop continuing to decline, which is what GameStop has been doing for the last 10 years. They've been on the decline for a while now. And people were just betting against GameStop, and now they have lost a shit ton of money, which is fine because these people who have hedge funds are usually pretty wealthy.
Yeah, never going to weep for anyone.
So I'm not going to weep for them, but I'm going to weep at my own misfortune because I could be on a fucking beach with a nice house, but I am still stuck at home in college.
Hey, man, you'll further your education. You'll get a job where you'll make way more than $100K. Just look at it that way. Silver lining and everything.
Because if I made $100K, I probably would reinvest it into something else, and then I'd lose it all, and then... Whew. Okay, well, that's my rant on GameStop.
Thank you. Gotta look on the price side of things. Are we gonna go to my rant now? Or are we gonna talk about
No, we're gonna talk about Xbox Live Gold, and then we'll go to your rant in a little bit.
Yeah,
spread out the rants.
Fair enough. Fair enough. We don't want too much hostility in one part of the podcast.
Yes. All right. So Xbox Live. Oh, not Xbox Live. Xbox in general. They did a little bit of a whoopsie.
A little bit.
A pretty big whoopsie. So they decided that they wanted to put the Xbox Live Gold price from $60 a year to essentially $120 a year. They thought they can get away with that people would just be little sheeps and follow along with it or transition to Game Pass Ultimate, which is probably what they wanted to do.
That's exactly what they wanted to do.
$120 for Gold, or go spend $180 a year and get Game Pass Ultimate, and you get all these games, xCloud, and yeah, it seems like a much better deal. So that was obviously their plan, but it's a really scummy way to do it, and they got a ton of outrage over that. And they went back on their choice. What was it, 8 hours later, maybe?
Not even.
Yeah, I mean, it was nuts. And then they also made free to play games. You can just play them free, like how it is on every other platform. So if you're playing on Fortnite, you can go play Fortnite. You don't need Xbox Live Gold. Like the fact that you could have been someone who was just playing like Fortnite or Warzone, and then you have to go pay $120 a year in gold to go play this game online is ridiculous.
Yeah, and I just gotta say, it wasn't, like, probably to get people to switch to Game Pass Ultimate. It
It was,
definitely was,
yeah,
because it only affected new people who were signing up for gold,
yeah,
like, at the same price.
and according to insiders, they were still going to be doing the transition to all like free to play games being completely free. They were just going to do it around the launch of Halo Infinite because it's going to have the free to play multiplayer. So they're going to reveal that then, so they go look. Oh, we're really consumer friendly, so you can go try out Halo for free.
Yeah, real consumer friendly, doubling the price of our
Yeah.
online subscription service
So
for the
I mean,
servers
I'm
we
glad
don't
that they
maintain.
walked back on that. I don't know whose idea it was. I mean, I'm hoping it wasn't
Someone
Phil.
who's fired now,
Yeah, I
probably
mean,
someone who's in the can. And honestly, I'm not even mad about it. Look, I don't want anyone to lose their jobs, but I mean, if you're gonna
oh no,
make
dude,
that the
whoever's
first
idea
place,
that was
I
someone
know
at the
you
top. They didn't lose.
deserve to. Well, they deserve to be fired nonetheless. To be
Well,
honest,
they ain't getting fired, bro, because that was someone at the top who doesn't give a shit.
yeah, you're
But
probably right.
it's nuts, bro.
And
I
the fact
mean,
that they thought that they could really get away with that for
and the
even
way they
like
were gonna justify it was, oh, here's one free extra game. I mean, if you look at the February games, did you look at the February games for gold?
they're not that bad. I download them all. It was Little Nightmares.
No, February, not January. We're still in January, Mike.
I'm
So
sorry.
that would have been like the
Um,
new first thing under their new $120 a year thing.
no, I did not see.
All right, let me pull it up real quick. Hang on. It was Gears 5 was one of them.
Not
The
bad, but you can pick it up for like $10.
Yeah, or get on Game Pass for
Yeah,
anything less. The original Resident Evil, an indie
that's
game called Dandara,
haven't heard of that.
Indiana Jones from the original Xbox,
That's
and
backwards compatible?
yeah,
I have that on disc. I
Emperor's
had
Tomb,
no idea. I had no idea. Yeah, I have Emperor's Tomb.
and then Lost
Oh, that's
Planet, which is another Xbox 360 game. Like
oh, believe me, I know Lost Planet.
none of those games are really getting you like fucking excited for
Bro,
can't
what do
wait.
you mean? I just said I loved
Yeah,
that.
but $120 a year, love that
Well,
game?
no, yeah,
No,
especially
yeah.
since I already have it. Like, yeah,
Exactly. I
no.
mean, none of those games are like, oh wow, like that's not like they're like, oh, games of gold. Here's a game that was like $60 because they're putting that money into Game Pass to put those games onto Game Pass. The whole
Yeah,
games of gold thing doesn't work when you have Game Pass,
yeah,
in my
no.
opinion.
No,
Like
you're right. I thought they were gonna start phasing gold out, not,
same. That's what they
doubling the
should have been doing.
price.
That's what everyone expected them to do. It only made sense. I mean, because I know you play on PC sometimes. I'm mainly on PC. You don't have to pay for online on PC if you want to
Main
just
thing I miss from PC is
yeah,
that.
you just go and play it. I mean, and that's like the best part about it. I mean, and especially like PlayStation Plus, you can get PlayStation Plus for a year for $30. I mean, it's pretty much
Can you? I have to
yeah,
pay 60.
if you do it online on their thing, but it's pretty much always on sale for $30. Like,
Okay.
um, yeah, and I mean, you can find gold for 1 year, like around before this big controversy happened, it would be like $40 on sale. So that was like a fair price, all things considered. But then when you were like, all right, let's compare this to $120, that's like fucking crazy. But I feel like we're just rambling now, just saying how crazy it is.
Well, because it was. I mean,
It
it's
was
completely
crazy. There was
unprecedented and
total outrage.
justifiably so. And just, I gotta say, if you're watching this and you're one of the people that tweeted at Microsoft or went on one of their social media channels and gave them shit, kudos to you for speaking your voice, because it was you along with, me, Frank, and everybody else who, tweeted at them, who contacted them, who were like, hey, this is messed up. We aren't going to stand for this nonsense. We were heard and they
Yeah,
listened and they backed down really quickly. So just, remember, speak with your wallets. If you say, "Hey, we're done with your service. We aren't going to pay for this shit," like Frank said, we're not going to be, sheep for you guys. We're not just going to spend and buy and just consume. We're actually going to be mindful of what we purchase. Then they can't pull nonsense like this as much as they want to. So just good on everyone for just speaking their mind.
yeah. All right. Well, on that note, we're gonna move into uh, let's just talk about Tencent real quick. So
Oh my God,
I'm,
these
I'm making you,
people.
I'm making you get all
I'm
angry.
heated up. I can feel
Get
myself
heated.
getting fiery inside. I'm warming up. My
I
blood
mean, you
pressure
got all
is
these
getting
topics
higher.
that you can get heated over. The next two after this, you're gonna get heated on too. So it'll just be explosion from Mike here. Yeah, dude. I mean, Take-Two, I mean, they're not that consumer friendly, but they make some fucking incredible games. I mean,
Yeah.
Rockstar especially. I mean, I don't know, dude. I mean, I don't know if Tencent's gonna pull it off. Um, it would definitely be a hostile takeover. This isn't Take-Two
Oh,
saying they want to
100%.
do this. If they can avoid a hostile takeover, by merging with another company. But even if you merge, bro, I mean, they could still probably do a hostile takeover of another company. They are worth, excuse me, they are worth a shit ton, dude.
Well, remember, this isn't like the first time something like this almost happened. Remember, Vivendi went after
Yeah,
Ubisoft like really hard. I mean, and it didn't work out for them. They got
yeah, it
pushed back.
failed, but then you have to recognize that Tencent is 30 times bigger than
Yeah,
the
they
company
are
that
like
tried to take over Ubisoft. So
the Chinese conglomerate.
it is very crazy.
And they already have so many footholds in the United States. Like what? They have like a 40% share of Epic or something
Yeah,
crazy like
yeah,
that.
that's right. They
And they
have a
have like
lot, dude.
10,
They made like
15%
30
of the
acquisitions last year.
dude, I hate
And they
them.
already made
I'll
two
say it
this
right
year.
now. I
They
don't
already
care.
made two this year, and we know this big one is happening. Which it might not be Tencent. We don't know. It could be EA. It could be some other big company. And
I'll say this.
I mean, Jez Corden's the guy who started saying Take-Two.
If they buy Take-Two, GTA's ruined. I mean, it's gonna be so censored because it won't be able to release in China in the way it is. There won't even be like microtransactions or shark cards. Like you'll just see like, this airplane, $25. Just buy it. And they'll just keep coming out with shit like that, but there'll probably be like no blood, no gore, no like graphic or dramatic material, like no shocking moments like there were in 5, like for example when like Trevor kills Floyd and Deborah and like just freaks the fuck out, just nothing crazy like that. When, Trevor, again, with Trevor captures like Martin Madrazo's wife, just like all the crazy nonsense, like just the third ending where you kill everybody who screwed you over, just like the
I don't
big
know how you remembered any of those names.
because I love GTA 5. I've beaten the game 3 times and it is so good. But that's the thing, like, they craft these memorable narratives with these, iconic moments that are just ingrained into players' heads because they're just so, outside of what really anyone else would do. And we're gonna lose that magic if Tencent takes over Rockstar. Forget about a Red Dead Redemption 3. Like, you know what? If we don't get another Rockstar game on the quality of RDR2, I'm okay with that. And I kind of expect it because that was the last game Dan Houser wrote, and in my opinion, RDR2 is the best thing that's ever come out of Rockstar, cinematically, narratively, whatever. Um, but that doesn't mean I want like such a steep decrease in quality after that. I still want Rockstar, even without Dan Houser, to make quality experiences. And if Tencent buys them, that's not happening ever
Yeah,
again. Ever. I mean, the people got to understand how terrible of a corporation this is. Not only are they completely backed by the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, and just the political ramifications for having a company like that have a massive foothold in the United States would just be bad beyond gaming. I'm not going to get into that because we don't talk politics here, but I'm sure you can surmise for yourself why that would be fucking terrible. Um,
definitely.
but just regardless, whatever company they take over would completely lose their individuality. All their gall, their balls, for the most part, would be completely cut off. They'd be neutered, and we would just get very low quality experiences. But I know they want to. I know they want to because they'll still make money, and they want a big foothold. Bigger than having that 40% in Epic. They want a mainstay company that they own. And with this new administration, I don't think they would block a purchase like that, which concerns me. And besides the real life ramifications, personally, and I'll add selfishly at that, I don't want my games being ruined by just this absolutely money hungry, barely even human, just completely profit driven company like Tencent. Like, you think Take Two's greedy, you think EA's greedy, you think Activision's greedy. They are. They're egregious, but they are nothing like Tencent. Tencent is infinitely
Definitely.
worse, and honestly, they need to be stopped from doing this at all costs if we want to preserve like the integrity of our favorite franchises.
But they're going to keep doing it, bro. There's no
No,
stopping them. They have too much money.
I know. I just we gotta hope there's like some rich prick that has some sort of shred of self-respect and decency left to just say no. You just gotta hope. But that's my piece on it.
I
What do
just,
you think?
it's just like, I don't know. The industry is definitely going to be changing in the next like 5 years. There's going to be this big, right? everyone's going to be buying studios. This war already started. Microsoft was very much one of the big things with Bethesda, and you're going to see it a lot more with a lot of other studios. Tencent is going to be a big player. Microsoft will continue to be a big player. Google's going
Sony
to be a
will end
big
up
player.
Sony
Amazon's going
will
to be a
end up
big player.
acquiring one. I think Sony will get like the Konami IPs.
Yeah, I could see Sony getting Konami. I could see them getting Blue Point, House Marquet, maybe even Remedy. I could see Sony getting a few more things.
I don't think
Uh,
they'll get Remedy because like Alan Wake was a 360 exclusive. I feel like Microsoft would be quicker to acquire Remedy, and like Quantum Break was an exclusive too.
yeah.
But yeah,
Uh,
no Blue Point for sure.
but yeah, I mean, they're definitely going to be big factors in this. EA will be acquiring quite a few things probably as
And then
well.
absorbing them and getting rid of them.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, it's gonna be dirty. I mean, it's gonna be.
No one's gonna be playing fair.
I agree. I
It's whoever
mean,
has the biggest wallet. That's all it is.
yeah. I
And
mean, if you think Phil Spencer finds out like, oh, one of our competitors is going to buy some big company, like let's just say, I don't know what's a good example. I'm trying to think of like a
Capcom,
smaller publisher. Yeah, like there's or even like just Sega, for example, because there's been plenty of rumors about Sega and Microsoft. If like Microsoft found out, if Phil Spencer found out that say Google was trying to buy Sega, he would be going right to Satya and saying, "Hey, one of our competitors, they're trying to buy this. We need to stop them because we cannot let them become a threat in our industry." Because I mean, exclusive content right now is only with like actually you're not seeing it with streaming yet. But it's gonna happen just like how there's exclusive content with Netflix and Disney Plus and all that. That's gonna happen. There'll be exclusive content for Microsoft stuff, but then there'll be exclusive stuff for Google's platforms and Amazon's platform, and they're both trying to grow their platform. And
and no
that's the
one
only
wants.
way they're going to bring people over there is if they go buy studios that are well known and have them make games for them. So they'll go buy Google buying Ubisoft or Amazon buying Ubisoft is
Oh,
something I absolutely can see happening.
no.
I
Look,
could
man,
very well see that happening.
I got my Stadia for free, and I still haven't opened it. Like, I don't care. I don't care about cloud streaming. These platforms are not ready for the mainstream. The only one that's like worth it is xCloud because it's bundled in with Game Pass Ultimate. Like, I'm not gonna go out of my way to get a lesser service, that I have to pay monthly for on top of paying $60 a pop for games. Like, nor do I want to support monopolies like Google or Amazon. Which again, that you would think, oh, but aren't there going to be any trust busters that are going to come around and dismantle these corporations before they acquire all these studios? No, monopolies are allowed. If you guys haven't noticed,
Yeah.
they're like they aren't supposed to be, but come on, they are. Everything's a monopoly now, and this is only going to escalate, like Frank said. And you want to know what? The only people that are going to lose is us, the consumers, the players, because we're just going to have less options to play our favorite games.
Dude, you're right. It sucks, but it's nothing we could do. It's
We can talk about it. We can speak out. We can, I don't want to say protest. That's a bit too
you're
dramatic. But
it's
we can, say what we want to say. But it's really
no,
not.
our opinion's not going to change anything.
It's
Even
not.
if the whole industry came up and said, "Stop this," uh, Google's not going to care. Amazon's not going to care, and it's just going to get crazy. But
No, you're right. It's unfortunate. It's just so unfortunate.
anyway, since we were talking about crazy stuff, I think that will bring us into our next point pretty well. And I know that you will be very feisty about this one. So, Blizzard, they did
Mm,
some no stuff. So they are absorbing Vicarious visions, and they are just
I'll
putting
spit
them
on
into
them. I will
Blizzard now. It
spit
used to
on
be right underneath Activision, and now they're just throwing them into Blizzard. They're going to be working on a Diablo 2 remake. And it's like I don't know. I never played the Diablo games, so I mean they could do maybe a great job with this remake on Diablo 2. But they were doing so good with the Crash remake, right? I think they made that, and then the Tony Hawk thing that they did recently, which we reviewed and both loved.
Gave
I
it a
mean,
9. That
yeah,
game was it was, you know what? Uh,
it sold
damn
better
your
than any of the other Tony Hawk games. Like they,
Because it was the best. I mean, you take the best 2, you remake it from the ground up, and it plays exactly the same as it did back in the day, if not better and more fluid, and it looks drop dead gorgeous. Why didn't they get an increase in staff size? Why didn't they get a more higher budget? Why weren't they allowed to make Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 6? Why? Like, it makes no sense, the fact that they're doing this. I mean, why are you taking away their individuality? We were just talking about that, stripping these studios away from, what they're good for and just absorbing them into these soulless husks just so they can be a support for a bigger IP. Like, I don't understand. Like, why are you punishing a studio that has only done good for you? It's what I don't understand. Vicarious Visions has only done good for Activision. Crash Bandicoot 4, that was them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Crash 4. I haven't beaten it, but, from what I played, I had a really good time with it.
No, it wasn't Crash 4. They
It
did the
was
Crash trilogy.
Oh, that's right, they did do the Crash
Crash
trilogy.
4 was like Toys from Bob or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. You're right. But, putting Crash 4 aside, the Insane Trilogy, fantastic.
Yeah.
It was such a faithful remake, and, everyone who played, as difficult as it was, it was extremely faithful, and, a lot of fun. And then Activision gave them another test. They were like, "Okay, you did well with that. Let's completely change it up. Going from a platformer to a skating game. Let's see how good you can remake that." It's almost like in hindsight, they were testing them to have an excuse to get rid of them. But they passed each test with flying colors, and then they still dismantle them. Why? It's the same thing with like Visceral and EA, like in Pandemic with EA. Like, why? These are great studios with some of the most talented people in the industry, and you're just dismantling them, stripping them of their identity, their soul. It's despicable and disgraceful. I, I look. I guarantee they're going to do great work at Blizzard because, as I said, they're talented devs, but they shouldn't have to. They should be allowed to remain independent. They should be allowed to make the games they want. They've proven time and time again they are capable. So this is bullshit, man. This is bullshit.
It is bullshit. They fucked up. I don't know why they did it. It makes no sense to me. They finally get like a studio that's doing a great job, and they're like, yeah, let's just fuck them, make them a support studio.
Terrible. Terrible. This is terrible. One of the worst things Activision has done. Honestly, I love Vicarious Visions. That Tony Hawk Pro Skater remake was too good.
Yep.
And now I think I'm gonna play a little bit soon. Just grind that game out in their memory. Damn.
And the
What a
like
punch
when we
to the
reviewed
gut.
it, I mean, they were so cool, and they gave us like the deluxe edition code. Like in all the
Yeah.
review copies we've gotten, it's just like the standard edition. You never get like a deluxe or anything above that. So
Yeah,
that
no, I
was like,
got like all the outfits, all the like the deluxe decks, and they are like just like your regular crappy like different color skin whatever. Like these were well designed decks
yeah,
for your skateboard, and I mean like the clothes. I mean it's not the most important part when it comes to games like that, but it was cool like dressing Tony Hawk up in some new threads that were definitely classier than what came with the game, and I mean it was for free. And we reviewed it, and obviously we're not saying that impacted the score at all, us getting the deluxe edition. The game was fantastic on its own. It's just they're good people is the point we're trying to make, and what happened to them is not right. It's not, no matter which way you slice it and dice it. It's
yeah.
fucked up.
Well, I say we move on into KOTOR so we can hear you rage
Oh
some more.
yeah, so I can lose my voice.
All
Here we
right.
go.
So
Can feel my
yeah,
throat constricting with rage.
yeah, I have no water. So there's been a plethora of KOTOR rumors recently, and one recent one is that we're thinking that there's a studio called Archetype Entertainment. And they have a lot of people who used to work on the old KOTOR games are working on some mysterious game right now. But they had James Olin, who is the lead designer of KOTOR, who is the head of the new studio, and they also have Drew Karpyshyn, who was the lead writer of KOTOR, who is the lead writer at the studio. So, and there was some theories here because they're working on a brand new sci-fi RPG. They became a studio, I think, 2 years ago. Um, Now here's one thing that put people kind of questioning the theory, is because they said we are developing a multi-platform role-playing game set in an all-new science fiction universe. Now they say all new, which is kind of weird because Old Republic is not technically new, so it
But
would be
it's
like, oh,
also
it can't be
not
that.
canon.
But
It's also not canon, so it would technically be new to the mainstream.
yeah, but there still is gaming content. I
I
mean,
know
I
what you
still think it's kind of a far-stretched theory, but uh, Mr. Matty Plays was thinking that it could possibly be High Republic.
I came up with that before him. Now I know he didn't steal it from me, but literally yesterday I was talking to my roommate about this, and I said to him, I'm like, bro, if this Old Republic remake turns into some High Republic
Now, wait,
nonsense,
the thing
I'm
is
going to
that
scream.
it could be like right as Old Republic is going into High Republic.
That's still stupid.
Like it could be at the transition point, so then maybe it
Still
wouldn't be
stupid.
that bad.
Oh no, it would
Like
be because High Republic's terrible. I've seen the new stuff that's come out, and it's just not Star Wars. It's not quality. Everything that comes out of Lucasfilm Story Group, Pablo Hidalgo, all of them, is just unadulterated trash. And I'm not even going to be kind about it anymore because I'm at the point in my life where I have no reason to. They're talentless hacks. They have no business coming up with any Star Wars story. They're disrespectful to the source material and to what makes Star Wars great. They're completely ignorant to anything that makes Star Wars, and they just think, oh, my ideas are better than everyone else's and everyone's that has came before me and made this successful. I know what I'm doing, so I'm just going to do what I want. And they did, and the sales reflect that. High Republic has effectively bombed. No one really gives a shit, and you want to know why? Because it's uninspired, it's not creative, it's just political agenda pushing crap. That's all it is. And
yeah,
I gotta be honest, people are over it. The sequel's bombed. We don't want that sort of stuff anymore. The Mandalorian succeeds because it's actually Star Wars. Like, yeah, it has its problems. Yeah, there's a lot of filler, but it's better than the sequel trilogy by far. You know, the only stuff that has been successful from Disney Star Wars has been stuff that has been faithful to the prequels in the original trilogy. Rogue One, um, the Clone Wars revival, the
well, I mean,
Bad Batch,
wouldn't High Republic be
Mandalorian.
pretty similar to the prequels?
Oh, don't say that to me. Don't say that to me,
I
or
mean, that's like
so
I
by
don't.
you.
I mean, I haven't read the books. I know you haven't read them either. But they're the Jedi at
I
their
read the first
highest peak,
comic. I read the first comic.
and it was that bad.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. So terrible.
Because I haven't
And
seen much other outrage besides coming from you. I mean, I haven't really looked,
well,
but
yeah,
I know
no,
I've
you
seen a lot
haven't
of
looked.
people
The
saying
very
they've read the
same.
books, the new High Republic books that came out recently, and I haven't seen anyone really complaining about them.
Look, man, all I'm gonna say is this: the whole like this is the Jedi at their peak thing is nonsense. Because in Lucas Star Wars, that's what the prequels were for. That was the Jedi at their peak, and that's why they fell. Because their hubris became too enlarged, because they couldn't even see the error in their ways anymore. That was the peak of the Jedi, and that's what led to their downfall. This High Republic nonsense completely circumvents the entire old lore, which was pretty much the old Republic gradually turning into the Galactic Republic, and then that falls and it becomes the Empire, and then the Empire falls and it becomes the New Republic. And I'm talking about Legends, not the sequel New Republic, because the New Republic was around before the sequels. That was the original timeline. And you want to know something, Frank? It worked. And not only did it worked really well, especially with the Timothy Zahn novels that took place after Return of the Jedi and all the expanded universe stuff. Like, the KOTOR games are light years better than anything High Republic will ever put out. And they use like these crutches, like they have Yoda in High Republic. So you're like, oh, there's one character that's still from there, and they're gonna, bring people in because Yoda's there, but they'll probably end up ruining him, just like they disgraced Luke Skywalker and Han Solo and Princess Leia and disrespected their characters and killed them off with no real payoff or reasoning, nothing justifiable. Um, if they were to make if they were to, have all these KOTOR rumors circling around, and then they say, "Oh, it's not, either of the original games." Okay, is it still in the Old Republic timeline? Well, no, it's actually at the beginning of the High Republic. Then it's not Old Republic. Then
I
it's
mean, but
just
if you have the KOTOR writers, and I know the KOTOR writers aren't like 100% in charge of like, oh, the Old Republic and all the war behind it, but if they were able to make a good story out of the Old Republic, I believe they can still do that with the High Republic. They can still make a good RPG, have a good story, make the High Republic interesting.
but then you validate that whole era, which 90, and even if that's good, even if it's one of the best games ever made, that would still be just 5% of like the other, High Republic shit. So if you have 5% good but 95% awful, it's still majority awful. I it I don't want it. It's such a stupid concept, and it's such an uninspired era. It's not creative. It's not unique. You take it from old fairy tales from King Arthur and Camelot, You rip the idea straight from there. You don't have any real antagonists because you don't want any war in Star Wars, which is like, oh, cool. Like I saw when they first coming up with this stuff, like their priorities on the top two: anti-war, diversity. Like that is not how those shouldn't be your priorities when making a Star Wars story. It should just be a good narrative with solid characters people can relate to, and a timeless adventure and a battle between good and evil. That's what Star Wars is. It's what it's meant for. And now you have these space Vikings literally called the Nile. Like it's the most uncreative nonsense I've ever seen. And I don't want to give it any more validity. I want it to be over. I mean, this isn't good. This isn't good storytelling. This is just uninspired trash, in my opinion. I just don't see the draw. I don't. I mean, it's just everything is stolen from something else, and it's just a mesh of ideas that don't work. And it's written by untalented people. You know, I'm I usually don't talk like this, but I could do better than them. I know I could because I know this shit inside and out. I've been watching and reading and just listening to all things Star Wars my entire life. I know this stuff inside and out. And these people,
Well, I mean, I'm sure they have people working on
to
the High
them,
Republic that
it's not a
are also
passion
fans of Star
project.
Wars. I mean, I know Pablo is a complete.
He's an ass. He's a horse's ass, Pablo Hidalgo.
But I mean, how many is Pablo like the lead guy?
He's one of them, if not the lead. I know
You see,
he's
I
been
don't
there
know
probably
enough
the
about the
longest.
other like lead people. I know Pablo's high up. I'm not. I don't know enough about the other higher up people.
It's just they don't know how to subtly, like, tell what they wanna tell. Like, they throw the political shit in your face instead of having it being an underlying theme, like in the prequels in the original trilogy. They just don't think you're smart, so they think they just have to blast you with it. It's so degrading and condescending, even
Well, I
without
think
them
it's
being
because they're also trying to target this younger audience now,
okay, but
which is
even if they are, then you keep kids out of politics. They don't need to know that shit. It's
yeah.
too stressful. Like, Star Wars is supposed to be for all ages. That's why the political stuff, again, was an underlying theme. It wasn't like in your face, but it was there if you paid attention. Like I've said on this channel before, the original trilogy is a commentary on imperialism. The prequels is a commentary on the military-industrial complex. But if you're watching those movies as a kid, you have no idea. You just see lasers going off and people fighting with laser swords, and it's great. Magical powers in space. It's fantastic. Dogfights with these massive spaceships and fleet battles. It's great. But there's also this deep stuff there if you look for it when you're older. And they're just forgetting about, the accessibility to all audiences. And they're like, oh, we're just going to push our agenda. We're just going to do whatever we want because we know best. It's like the Ryan Johnson complex. It's like, oh, I'm going to take this beloved IP and do what I want with it because I'm a selfish prick. And I'm not going to care what the fans want. That's how I see it, and I don't want any more High Republic content because it's just so bland. So bland. And it's not special.
I don't know. I mean, I've for a while have wanted more of just seeing like stuff before episode 1 because I enjoyed the prequels. I know a lot of people hated the prequels,
Oh,
but
I
I
love the
was
prequels.
I was part of the few who actually liked the
It's
prequels
not
more than
few
anything else in
anymore.
Star Wars.
It's not few anymore. There's a lot of us
Yeah, I
now.
know there's a lot after Clone Wars and
I love the prequels, man. That's my favorite shit. If you tie Clone Wars into that, it's the best piece of Star
so
Wars
that I
media
mean that's
out
why I want more Star Wars content pre anything because like I don't want to see like
there. Me too. That's what the Old Republic's for.
I don't
Not
want to
the
see
High Republic.
anything future related. I don't need to see like Rey have her own game.
Yeah, no one
Even
gives
though
a
I don't
shit
hate
about
Rey
her
as a
heroes.
character.
I do. I do. She faces no challenge, she faces no struggles, everything is handed to her, and she's not relatable. Can't have empathy.
Well, I mean, like they could make a good RPG. Like even in the original trilogy, like there's so many places. I was thinking about this the other night. There's so many places like in the that we see in the Clone Wars that we never really hear about again. Like they
What do you
could
mean?
make a game that takes place during the time of the original trilogy and then have you be going to some of these lesser planets that you see like in Clone Wars that never really got like shown off on the big screen. And you could have those in a game as a nice RPG. So you're not going to fucking Tatooine or like Endor or
Well,
any of that shit. And just going to
Fallen
like
Order did a little bit of that with, like, having
yeah, the
Dathomir.
Fallen Order did a great job with that. So I'd like
Yeah.
to see what Fallen Order did, but in an RPG with choice and consequence and all that. And I mean, I don't know if they'll do that. I think the only chance would be this KOTOR game or High Republic
It
game or whatever they're doing
better
with
be
it.
KOTOR because Old Republic just outclasses High Republic in every single way because it's actually unique. It goes for a more medieval vibe, but it has enough of its own creativity to justify its existence. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah,
its own thing. And you can clearly tell, like if you watch the BioWare cinematics from the MMO, if you play
yeah, I've
KOTOR
seen it.
1 and
It looks
2,
sick.
if you just any Old Republic media out there is just so good, and you wanna know what it's darker than anything else in Star Wars too,
Yeah,
much darker. This High Republic shit is, like, just preschool nonsense. Like, there's not even a war. Like, Old Republic, you had legions of Jedi and Sith going at each other. You had, Republic troopers charging to battle against Sith lords because they just had no choice. I mean, that it was metal. I love Old Republic, and it did everything that High Republic can't do. That's why I don't want High Republic because Old Republic is genuinely something special and unique, and High Republic is just bland copycat garbage.
I don't know. I
And I
mean,
will hold that opinion until the
I mean,
day.
obviously, I'd love KOTOR. I just think the chances are higher for it being in the High Republic. And I mean, I just hope it's good. I know your hopes are not high for it at all.
If it's KOTOR, my hopes are
No,
extreme.
I mean if it's High Republic,
Yeah,
I know
no,
your
it'll
hopes
be
are not
terrible.
high for that. I I'd be obviously I'd be more optimistic for KOTOR. I'd have a lot higher hopes, but I'd still think it would be a good game with the High Republic.
I'll tell you this, if they actually listen to their fans in the community, they'll make it Old Republic and not High Republic. If they only listen to the echo chamber they lock themselves inside, it'll be High Republic.
Well, the thing is, I mean, I trust the dev team. They might want to do a KOTOR game, but if they're telling I would do High Republic. I mean,
Mm-mm.
I still think they can make a good game in the High Republic. I don't think it's just because
It might
the
be a
people who
good
created the
game,
High Republic were shit means everything in the High Republic has to be shit.
but the grounds, like the foundation of the lore is terrible. It's just so uninspired. I mean, Old Republic is just something like it doesn't even like it feels like Star Wars, but everything
Well, I
is
mean,
even so
Mandalorian's kind of in a similar situation. I mean, they're going into these the sequel trilogy, which has
not really. It takes place 30 years before the sequel trilogy.
yeah, but you can tell that they're building into being what Clone Wars was for the prequels and making
Or they're gonna
Mandalorian with like the thing about the blood and seeing it about how Snoke was created and all that shit.
well,
Like
we
you
don't
can,
know if that was Snoke.
I believe it was Snoke. I'm going. I mean, we'll find out in the next
But the thing
two
is,
seasons.
there is a difference with that. Is that Clone Wars and the things that happened in Clone Wars were always a part of the overarching story. Because George Lucas had a book called The Book of the Wills as he was making the Star Wars movies. And this was like his overall outline for the entire universe, from prequels to original trilogy to his sequels. And a lot of the stuff that was in Clone Wars was in there. A lot of this stuff was planned years ahead of time. George always had, like a plan. The sequels were just, okay, let every director do whatever they want, and it was thrown together, and you can't tell me that Palpatine shit was planned.
Oh,
That is
it was stupid.
nonsense.
They had no plan with the sequel trilogy.
Kathleen Kennedy is an abysmal failure, and she should lose her job and never work again. But that's not for today's conversation. What is for today's conversation is hoping with every single fiber of my being that this new game is Old Republic and not High Republic for the preservation of my sanity and soul. It has
Yeah,
to be.
I mean, we'll find out probably by the end of this year, I would imagine.
Ugh.
But
Makes me
in
sick, just the
uh,
thought of it. Just the thought of a High Republic game like that and not a KOTOR 3 or remake, it just makes me physically ill, like I wanna vomit all over my keyboard. Whatever.
well, you said you were gonna break your keyboard, so I mean, this was
I if
better
listen,
than expected.
I'll tell you this, if it comes to pass, if it's High Republic, I will snap it in half with my forehead on camera, on stream for everybody to see.
All right. In other news, Biomutant has a release date finally, May 25th. What are your thoughts on that?
I've only seen, like, 5 minutes of Biomutant gameplay in my entire
Same,
life.
dude. They've just been like delaying this game for so long,
It's a
and
THQ Nordic game, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like a raccoon who fights things. I still don't know, bro.
It's
It's
like a
like
raccoon who fights things.
if I expect it to get delayed again. If we get to like a month away from launch and it's still not getting delayed, then I'll actually learn what the game's about. Because I mean, it looks good on the surface. It's just so confusing. But there's also so much going on in May. I mean, we talked about this earlier. I mean, you got Resident Evil at the beginning of the month that tops the cake. You've
Oh
got Far Cry
yeah,
6, which is the same day as Biomutant, actually. You
yeah, and
have Deathloop, which is a few days before it, and then you have Biomutant,
I'm
which is
definitely playing Far Cry over Biomutant for
same.
sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
I don't know if all four of those games are going to stay in May. I could see more delays.
Village is
Um,
going to,
I think
especially
Village
after
will stay.
playing Maiden.
Deathloop, I think, will also stay. But the
Yeah,
other
yeah.
two games, I'm not 100% sure on.
I mean, Biomutant's just been delayed forever, so I wouldn't be surprised if it got pushed back to like November, December, or something like that.
Yeah,
And
I don't know.
Far Cry, yeah, I mean, I fully expect Ubisoft to delay that again to like August, September would be my guess. Just because of how terribly Watch Dogs Legion launched. Because remember that was supposed to come out in March.
Yeah,
Like, oh my god, imagine if it did. With how broken and
mess.
busted it launched in October. It was a complete mess in October, and I hated the game. And now, you know, I just yeah, I think you're spot on. I think Village and Deathloop are gonna stay, and then the other two are gonna get pushed back.
Yeah, we'll
I
see
do have
though.
more hope for Far Cry 6 than I did for Watch Dogs Legion, though.
Oh, yeah, same.
Especially with our boy Gustavo Fring, Giancarlo
Yes,
Esposito. No,
gotta be
even if
great.
the game is shit, he's gonna bring it home with a great performance. That much I know.
Yes. All right. Into our final topic. Let me just write the timestamps down. All right. So we got Microsoft's earnings. Now this is only the first part. They have a conference happening at I think 5:30 is what I read. I'm not sure how long it's going to take to get the numbers out for the other stuff, but I'll go over the few Xbox things that were announced here. Xbox content and services revenue increased by 40%, which is nice. Xbox hardware revenue up 86% by a console launch. Microsoft put $15.5 billion into the bank, which is the equivalent of two Bethesdas. And then a few other things. Xbox content and services revenue this quarter was higher than total Xbox gaming revenue in the same quarter last year. Xbox hardware almost doubled and now accounts for 31% of Xbox's total gaming revenue. And content and services growth has exploded. Now they didn't give out
That's Game Pass,
they
right?
haven't given out the official numbers for Game Pass. People expect it at the conference, but I would not be surprised if it's well over 20 million.
Really? You know what? Actually, no, I could believe that. I could definitely see it, especially with all like the $1 for 3 months deals that they've had and shit like
Yeah.
that.
I mean, who knows? Yeah, I mean, we could wait till 5:30, but I don't know if it's going to be announced right away at 5:30.
Probably
And
not.
yeah. So, I mean, if it's anything like over the top crazy, if it's like fucking 40 million and they're like, "Oh, Bethesda closed," then we'll talk about it next week, but I don't think it's going to be anything. I mean,
Or
20
we'll
million is still a
record
crazy
another
number, but
segment and add it on and
yeah, we
edit it.
always could do that.
Yeah.
But on that note, guys, thank you for watching. We will see you again next week.
Bye, everyone.